They were once the faces we grew up with, child stars who made us laugh, cry, and believe. But time doesn't stand still. Some stayed in the spotlight, others faded quietly, and many have changed in ways that might surprise you. As we revisit their stories, feel free to share your memories in the comments, and if you'd like to see more, hit like and subscribe. Because their stories didn't end when the cameras stopped rolling. Corey Feldman. In the 1980s, Corey Feldman was everywhere. He starred in some of the most iconic coming-of-age films of the era, Stand By Me, The Goonies, The Lost Boys. With his rebellious charm and natural screen presence, he quickly became a teen idol for millions of young Americans. But behind the spotlight was a much darker story. Corey later revealed that he didn't just grow up in the entertainment industry, he was consumed by it. While other kids his age were playing outside, Corey was facing abuse, intense pressure, and emotional isolation in a world that demanded more than any child should give. As he grew older, things didn't get easier. Corey battled addiction, depression, and the lingering trauma of his youth. His appearance changed. He looked tired, thinner, his fashion choices more eccentric. For many, he became nearly unrecognizable from the boy they once admired. But what sets Corey apart is this: he refused to stay silent. He spoke out about the darker corners of Hollywood, even when it meant facing ridicule, rejection, and backlash. He chose advocacy over fame, truth over silence. Today, Corey isn't topping box offices, but he's still creating, still performing, and most importantly, still standing. He serves as a living reminder of the price of childhood fame and the power of speaking out. Britney Spears. Once known as the Princess of Pop, Britney Spears captivated audiences worldwide with her youthful beauty, charisma, and infectious energy. Her debut in the late 1990s with hits like Baby One More Time and Oops, I Did It Again made her a cultural icon, symbolizing the bright spirit of a new pop era. But fame came with a heavy cost. As the pressures of stardom mounted, combined with public divorces, custody battles, and intense media scrutiny, Britney's life began to spiral. One of the most unforgettable moments came in 2007 when she shaved her head, a raw public act that symbolized a breaking point. Over the years, her appearance reflected the emotional toll she endured. Wrinkles began to show on her once flawless skin, her complexion lost its youthful glow, and her hair, once her signature, became damaged and often appeared disheveled. Public sightings showed a woman who seemed rushed, worn out, and far from the polished image fans once knew. Still, in 2021, Britney achieved what many thought impossible. She broke free from her 13-year conservatorship. Though she may look different now, she stands as a symbol of survival and personal freedom. Her journey is no longer just about fame, it's about reclaiming her life. Edward Furlong. Edward Furlong became an overnight sensation in the early 1990s when he portrayed the rebellious yet endearing John Connor in Terminator 2: Judgment Day. His raw talent and youthful energy instantly captured the hearts of audiences around the world. With follow-up roles in American History X and Detroit Rock City, it seemed Hollywood had found its next leading man. But fame came quickly, and with it, pressure. As Edward transitioned into adulthood, he struggled with addiction, legal troubles, and personal demons that would eventually derail his career. Once the rising star of action and drama films, he soon became a tabloid headline. His physical appearance changed dramatically. Furlong, once lean and sharp-eyed, began appearing in public with noticeable weight gain, an unkempt look, and visible signs of wear. The boy who once stood toe-to-toe with Arnold Schwarzenegger on screen was now nearly unrecognizable. In recent years, however, Edward has taken steps toward recovery. He's spoken openly about his battles and is slowly returning to independent film roles. Though his star no longer shines as brightly as it once did, fans still remember the young John Connor, and many quietly root for his redemption. His story serves as a sobering reminder of how fragile young fame can be. Macaulay Culkin. For many, the image of a young boy fending off burglars with toy traps and clever tricks is forever etched in memory. That boy was Macaulay Culkin, Hollywood's golden child of the early 90s, the face of Home Alone, and a symbol of childhood joy for an entire generation. Culkin wasn't just famous, he was everywhere. From blockbuster films to magazine covers, his fame was dazzling and fast. But behind the scenes, life moved differently. The pressure of early stardom, family conflicts, and a sudden withdrawal from acting painted a more complex, quieter story. Years later, when he re-emerged, the public was stunned. He looked thin, fragile, his once bright presence replaced by a haunted expression. It was a stark reminder of how fame, especially when it begins so young, can leave deep marks. But time, as it does, allowed healing. Macaulay turned to music, independent art, and a more private life. He didn't chase the spotlight again. Instead, he carved a new path on his own terms. Today, he's calmer, settled, and even a bit playful again. While he'll always be Kevin McAllister to many, Macaulay Culkin's real journey is that of a child star who learned how to step out of character and simply be himself. Lark Voorhees. Once known as the stylish and confident Lisa Turtle on the hit 1990s sitcom Saved by the Bell, Lark Voorhees became a familiar face to millions of American households. With her bright smile, expressive eyes, and trend-setting fashion sense, she stood out as one of the most beloved teen stars of her generation. Alongside her co-stars, she helped define the look and feel of youth culture during that era. But as the years passed, Lark's life began to drift away from the spotlight. Reports of erratic behavior and sudden changes in appearance left fans concerned. Over time, it was revealed that she had been battling mental health challenges, including a diagnosis of schizoaffective disorder, an illness that affects mood, perception, and clarity of thought. Her once vibrant and familiar look changed significantly. Public appearances showed a woman whose face seemed altered, likely due to cosmetic procedures, and whose expressions often appeared distant or guarded. The polished, fashionable image she once carried had given way to something more fragile, more human. Despite these struggles, Lark has made efforts to reclaim her narrative. She has spoken publicly about her mental health journey and continues to pursue creative projects on her own terms. Though her path has not followed the arc many expected, her story serves as a reminder that fame never shields anyone from life's deeper challenges, and that healing, while difficult, is always possible. Frankie Muniz. At just 14 years old, Frankie Muniz became one of the most recognizable young faces on American television. As the lead in Malcolm in the Middle, he brought humor, depth, and sincerity to a role that resonated with viewers of all ages. His performance earned him an Emmy nomination and cemented his place as a defining figure of early 2000s family TV. But unlike many who chased the spotlight for decades, Frankie made a different choice. Struggling with being typecast and longing for something more grounded, he quietly stepped away from acting and turned his attention to other passions. From professional racing to music to running a small business, he explored life beyond Hollywood with curiosity and courage. Along the way, health issues emerged. A series of concussions and a mini-stroke led to significant memory loss, leaving him with only faint recollections of the very role that made him famous. And yet, Frankie has never expressed bitterness. Instead, he speaks with acceptance, focusing on the present and the joy of a simpler life. Today, he lives mostly out of the public eye, still active, still creative, but on his own terms. For many who grew up watching him, Frankie Muniz represents something quietly powerful: the freedom to redefine success and the strength it takes to walk away from fame without regret. Amanda Bynes. Once seen as one of Hollywood's most promising young stars, Amanda Bynes rose to fame in the late 1990s with her breakout role on The Amanda Show. With her expressive eyes, quick wit, and effortless charm, she quickly became a favorite among teen audiences. Roles in What I Like About You and She's the Man further solidified her status as a rising comedic talent. But early success came with unseen burdens. As she transitioned into adulthood, Amanda struggled with the pressures of fame, mental health issues, and the weight of constant public attention. A series of erratic behaviors, legal troubles, and concerning appearances soon began to overshadow her early achievements. Over time, her physical appearance changed notably. The fresh-faced teen star began to look weary. Her style became unpredictable. Public sightings showed a woman battling inner turmoil, far from the polished image she once embodied on screen. In recent years, Amanda has stepped away from acting in public life, focusing instead on her recovery and mental well-being. Though she no longer holds the spotlight, her story resonates with many. It stands as a quiet testament to the struggles that can follow childhood fame and the courage it takes to seek healing away from it all. Raven-Symoné. Raven-Symoné first captured America's heart as a young child on The Cosby Show, where her wit and confidence shone far beyond her years. But it was her lead role in That's So Raven on the Disney Channel that turned her into a cultural phenomenon. With sharp comedic timing and undeniable star power, Raven became one of the few child actors to successfully carry a major network show, one built entirely around her. But growing up in front of millions came with its own complications. As she matured, Raven often found herself caught between public expectations and her evolving sense of identity. She faced harsh media scrutiny about her body, her fashion, and later, her personal life, including her sexuality and strong, sometimes controversial opinions. Her appearance, like her career, shifted boldly over the years. From red carpets to television panels, she embraced dramatic hairstyles, unfiltered commentary, and a style that was uniquely her own. To some, she seemed unpredictable. To others, she was refreshingly real. In recent years, Raven-Symoné has remained active in entertainment, but entirely on her own terms. As a talk show host, producer, and advocate, she continues to challenge stereotypes and speak her mind. Danny Bonaduce. Danny Bonaduce was just a child when he became a household name, starring as Danny Partridge on the hit 1970s show The Partridge Family. With his fiery red hair, quick wit, and musical talent, he stood out in a cast full of stars and quickly became a teen idol during an era when American television was shaping pop culture. But as the spotlight faded, Danny's life took a far more difficult turn. Struggling with addiction, anger issues, and the harsh realities of early fame, he found himself spiraling into periods of instability, including homelessness and multiple arrests. His image shifted from beloved TV star to tabloid regular, an all-too-familiar pattern for former child actors. His appearance, too, changed dramatically. Once bright-eyed and youthful, Danny often looked tired, gaunt, and worn from years of substance abuse and emotional battles. The charming kid with the guitar became a man trying to hold on to some sense of balance. In more recent years, Danny has worked to turn things around. He's found a new path as a radio host, opened up about his past, and embraced sobriety. His journey hasn't been easy, and the road remains bumpy, but his resilience continues to resonate. For those who grew up watching The Partridge Family, he remains a symbol not just of nostalgia, but of survival. Brendan Fraser. In the late 90s and early 2000s, Brendan Fraser was everywhere. He was the charming, funny, and relatable hero, whether swinging through the jungle in George of the Jungle or battling ancient curses in The Mummy. Audiences didn't just like him, they trusted him. He was the everyman wrapped in movie star charisma. But behind the smiles and blockbuster hits was a quieter struggle. Brendan stepped away from Hollywood, not because he faded, but because life caught up with him. A painful divorce, years of physical injuries from doing his own stunts, a battle with depression, and a deeply personal experience of sexual assault that left him broken and disillusioned with the industry he once loved. Over time, his appearance changed. He gained weight, he looked tired. He was no longer the golden boy of Hollywood, and yet none of that erased the warmth, humility, and heart that made him beloved in the first place. In 2022, Brendan made a powerful return in The Whale, delivering a performance so raw and vulnerable it brought audiences to tears. It wasn't just a comeback, it was a reintroduction. A reminder that strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, gentle, and deeply human. Josh Saviano. Josh Saviano found fame as Paul Pfeiffer, the loyal and brainy best friend on the coming-of-age series The Wonder Years. With his earnest expressions and quiet charm, he became a familiar face for audiences during one of television's most heartfelt eras. Though never the lead, his role left a lasting impression as the friend everyone wished they had. But unlike many child stars, Josh chose a different path. After The Wonder Years ended, he stepped away from acting almost entirely. Rather than chasing the spotlight, he pursued higher education, attending law school, and eventually becoming a successful attorney. The transition was intentional and remarkably without scandal. His appearance changed in unexpected ways. He grew older, matured, and like many former child actors, became nearly unrecognizable to casual fans. At one point, an internet rumor even falsely claimed that he had become shock rocker Marilyn Manson, a bizarre myth that only added to his low-key mystique. These days, Josh continues his career in law, far removed from Hollywood. His story stands out not for its drama, but for its groundedness. In an industry known for excess and collapse, his journey is a quiet reminder. Sometimes the bravest thing a young star can do is simply walk away and never look back. Jeremy Miller. Jeremy Miller rose to fame in the mid-1880s as the lovable younger brother Ben Seaver on the hit sitcom Growing Pains. With his blonde hair, cheeky grin, and effortless charm, he became a familiar face in households across America. At the height of the show's popularity, he was one of TV's most recognizable child actors. But like many who grow up on screen, Jeremy faced challenges once the cameras stopped rolling. As he transitioned into adulthood, he struggled to find roles that matched his early success. While co-stars like Kirk Cameron and Leonardo DiCaprio continued rising, Jeremy found himself increasingly overshadowed. Over time, his appearance matured. The boyish features gave way to a softer, fuller look, and public sightings became rare. Behind the scenes, he battled personal struggles, including a long fight with alcohol dependency that began in his teenage years. In more recent years, Jeremy has spoken candidly about his journey to recovery. He's taken part in occasional acting roles and is also focused on helping others facing addiction. His story may not include blockbuster comebacks or media headlines, but it reflects a quieter kind of strength, the willingness to confront your past and move forward with purpose. Taran Noah Smith. Taran Noah Smith was just 7 years old when he joined the cast of Home Improvement, playing Mark Taylor, the youngest and quietest of the three Taylor brothers. As the show became one of the most popular sitcoms of the 1990s, Taran's face became a familiar one in homes across America. With his wide eyes and gentle demeanor, he brought a quiet sincerity to the screen that stood in contrast to the show's loud comedic energy. But fame wasn't something he clung to. After Home Improvement ended, Taran made a conscious decision to leave Hollywood behind. While his co-stars continued in entertainment, he stepped away entirely, seeking a life beyond the spotlight, one that offered more control and privacy. Over the years, his appearance changed, as did his priorities. The boy fans once recognized from primetime television grew into a private man with little interest in revisiting his acting past. Public sightings became rare. Instead, Taran focused on personal growth, sustainable living, and entrepreneurship, at one point even running a vegan food business. His story may lack the drama often associated with child stars, but that's exactly what makes it remarkable. In a world that often glorifies attention, Taran Noah Smith quietly chose a different kind of success, one built not on fame, but on the freedom to live life on his own terms. Jodie Sweetin. Jodie Sweetin first won hearts as Stephanie Tanner on Full House, the precocious middle child with the catchphrase, "How rude." Her quick wit, bright eyes, and natural comedic charm made her one of the most beloved young stars of the 1990s. Week after week, American families welcomed her into their living rooms, watching her grow up on screen. But after the show ended, Jodie faced a far more difficult journey. Struggling to adjust to life outside of Hollywood's spotlight, she fell into substance abuse, battling addiction to drugs like meth, cocaine, and ecstasy. Behind the scenes, the once smiling child star was spiraling, her life nearly consumed by the darkness she kept hidden for years. Her appearance changed dramatically during this period. Gone was the energetic girl viewers had known. In her place was someone lost, both physically and emotionally. Public sightings during that time revealed a woman struggling to hold on. Over time, though, Jodie chose a different path. She entered recovery, shared her story publicly, and began helping others facing similar battles. She returned to the screen in Fuller House, a full-circle moment that reminded viewers not just of who she was, but how far she'd come. Today, Jodie Sweetin isn't just an actress. She's a mother, an advocate, and a survivor. Her journey stands as a powerful reminder that even the brightest stars can fall, but with strength, support, and courage, they can rise again. Some stars shined bright, then faded. Others stumbled and stood back up. These stories remind us, fame may fade, but the human journey never ends. Thanks for watching. If this brought back memories, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next story.